And this is what we're up against today. This is a job where about 2 weeks ago we plasterboarded and skimmed an extension. At the time, the plumber couldn't connect up and we had finished. He's since been back, made this little hole and made his connections, so now it's down to us to patch it up. The customer's been in and put the mist coat on, the work that we finished the other week, and that's all looking great. So all we need to do is a few little patches where the electricians have connected up and where the plumbers have connected up. It would have been nice if he had left us enough clearance so we can get a plasterboard over the top of these pipes. But as you can see, things are tight, so we need to fill around them. Now the obvious option is to fill the hole with bonding or hardwall. But the only problem with doing that is you've got to take into account that the heating pipes need to expand and contract. So unless they're running a conduit, there's no point just filling them with solid plaster, as they'll just expand and crack the plaster. The pink stuff I'm applying is pink SBR. It works as a sealer and a primer. In my opinion, it's far better than PVA. You can paint straight over it and it controls the suction on bare plaster. Absolutely fantastic. We're not too worried about trying to keep the floor spotless because there's a brand new floor going down the next couple of days. Now, this is what I recommend for filling round heating pipes when you need to leave room for expansion and contraction. If you use foam, the foam isn't rock solid, so the pipes can move ever so slightly inside. The only problem with it is the foam isn't very strong, so I'll show you in a second a way of making sure that the finishing coat is quite tough. I was never a big fan of using expanding foam for plastering, but I was amazed at when I seen how much these plastic pipes do expand and contract when they get hot. So that said, knowing how much they move, I can't think of a better material to encase the plastic pipes in. It's fantastic if you can get a plasterboard over the front of them. That's how nearly all new builds are built now. There's plastic pipes running behind the plasterboards, and that's fine. But if you need to encapsulate them in the plaster because they're so close to the surface, then I'd recommend using the foam. I just can't think of a better way of doing it. You can put Denso tape over them, which is absolutely horrendous stuff. But again, I don't carry that on the van with me. That's more of a plumber's job. So I'm just working with what I've got. Using half time, I'm going to make some rapid setting plaster. I'm going to use this to push through the scrims, fill out all the foam and give a nice solid background on which to work on top of. So the idea of this is to get it on and get it flat and let it set. Once it's set, I'll then put another 2 coats of plaster over the top. That way, on top of the foam, there's mesh with basically 3 coats of plaster on it, and that way it's quite thick and quite strong. It won't dint easily, but this plaster is going to set really quick, so I've got to move quite efficiently. I'm just going to give this first backing coat one flattening just to make sure there's no high spots, and when I put the next coat of finishing plaster on top, they'll go on easily. It's important to get all the little awkward areas nice as well. Don't leave any little gaps or holes anywhere. There's nothing worse than someone crouching down to pick someone up and spotting a hole. This bag of board finish got torn in the back of the van. That is the only reason I've opened the bag like that. You would never, ever, ever open a bag of finish through the side like a bag of cement. They're always open from the top by tearing the tab off. But if it's all going to leak out the side, then I may as well go in through the side. Notice how I'm using the trowel both ways. I'm going across and up and down. That's just to make sure I get it as flat as possible. On the other section, the other part of the wall, I can't do that because the radiator's in the way, it's too tight. So I've got to use the Tommy trowel. Now this is one of the reasons why I use a Marshalltown trowel. See, if I was using a Tyzac trowel now, the toe is curved and I wouldn't get the wall flat. It's only because a Marshalltown is straight at the toe that I can use the toe to put the plaster in like I was then. So just to recap on what I've done up to now, the first batch of plaster that you see me mix up had a load of accelerator in it, and that was used literally just to fill where the foam was and squeeze through the scrim to give a good solid background. Then I'm skimming over the top with 2 coats of fresh plaster with a little bit of accelerator, but not much. That way, when I'm skimming, I haven't got different suctions from different backgrounds and different depths because I've filled it all out nice and flat with the first coat that set really quick. Brush with water at every step of the way when you're blending in. Even in awkward little areas like this, if you take your time, you don't need a corner trowel. Did you see that little bit of overspill onto the top of the skirting board? That genuinely stresses me out. Now, I want to ask your opinion on something. Do you think that the plumber has tried to make my life easy here, or he's just done what he's needed to do to get the job done and not worried about me in the slightest? What's your thoughts? absolutely seamless. Just flows straight in. So we filmed this around these pipes, but we also got this chase and a few other various ones around the house. See you on the next one.